Good morning. I'm Brian Edwards. This is my wife Tammy, and we have two children, Dustin and Amanda. One in high school, one in the middle school. We just recently moved back to this area because that's Tammy's hometown. Moved from Arkansas, originally from Oklahoma, and have joined the church just about a year ago. 2 years now. And my wife works in the children's ministry, helping the kids, and I help with the FPU classes when they're available.
We've been married about 18 years, and Brian was always really passionate about finances and tried to do the best that he could, and had some money in savings when we met, which was real impressive. And then he found a ministry that came to our church, and it really changed our lives, and this was in 1997.
Part of that was a video class that we went through. And during that class, I realized that I wanted to help people in this area of finances. And so I began to inquire, because a part of that class was an individual session that you would sit down with someone and they would help you put a plan together. And so after I found out about that, I went to several trainings in Arkansas and found out real quickly that they didn't pay anybody to do this. It was a volunteer job. But I began to volunteer every other weekend, and I would go to churches, meet with families, help them get a plan, revisit them in 60 days, and work that plan. But a part of that process was our own plan. First time we sat down with someone, I had the first credit card I didn't pay off at the end of the month. And so when I looked at our plan the very first time, we thought we were doing fairly well. But when they laid it out on the table for us, we were $1,800 a month short. Part of that was because we didn't account for some unexpected expenses. We didn't account for home maintenance and car maintenance and kids getting sick and Christmas and those things that you don't put on your everyday monthly budget. But when we laid that out to us, I really thought they had something messed up, but I couldn't show them where it was wrong. And so we had to go home and do some evaluations. And part of our class, we made a commitment that we weren't going to go into debt for anything else except for our home, and that we were going to stick to our written plan like glue with no exceptions. That didn't mean things doesn't happen in our house. Sometimes we don't have to have emergency budget meetings, but because of those commitments, we now are debt-free, basically through God's blessings. Not that we've made a lot of money to get out of debt, but just simply working our plan, being diligent to the things we've learned to do, and also making some tough decisions. The first week that we began our new plan, my wife had been up here visiting for a couple of weeks. She came home and I said, okay, it's time to start. And so I gave her 5 envelopes, because that was what our plan was laid out to be, for our groceries, our gas, our entertainment expenses. We called it Walmart expense because we lived in the home of Walmart country, for miscellaneous stuff, and just our fun money. And she went to the grocery store the first time, and probably not with the right attitude, didn't take a calculator. Of course, I had eaten everything in the house and not been shopping since she had left. And she came home crying and saying, this plan's not going to work. Threw the envelope at me and said, I'm not going to do it. And I began to inquire why. She said, well, they made me put my bread back, and I had to put this back because I didn't have enough money in the envelope to buy it.
My hamburger.
And so I said, well, what did you buy? Well, after evaluation, we realized we weren't going to starve for 2 weeks, and we've been doing envelopes ever since. Part of the purpose in that, it shows you where your limits are on a daily basis. We know exactly if the kids want to go out and eat, we can ask, is there money in the entertainment envelope? If there is, we go. If not, we stay home and we do something here.
Yeah, one of the fun setback categories that we have is the Jesus Fund, where we put back a little over and above, either a percentage of what we get or extra money that God would bless us with, and it's over above our regular tithes. It's kind of like our offering. But if we see a need, somebody in need, or a bill we can pay, or something that the church is doing, like the all-in envelopes, then we look in our category and pray about what it is we need to give and how much of that, and what, and then we give it, and there's no guilt. We're cheerful, like the Bible says, and can give over and above. So it's fun to watch God provide. We got them each a giving, saving, spending bank from the Larry Burkett series, and then this one came out, Chick-fil-A. And one of the things I do in my home business with the Learning Center and preschool department is have the kids make these banks, learning, or giving, saving, and spending. And they save 80%, gives 10%, and spend 10%. So if they make $1, we pay it to them in dimes, and they learn to divide it up. And my son started when he was 3, and he just turned 16, and he was able to purchase his car based on the saving that he's been saving since 3. So it really does work, and it teaches them limits and responsibility and the value of money and how, you know, how it is to earn it. So.
And he paid cash for his car.
Yeah.
And part of that is in our plan, we put a matching program. It was the dad's 401k match for cars, similar to Dave Ramsey's. You may want to put a limit on those things, but we said we'll match dollar to dollar up to a certain amount in your savings the day you buy your car. If you don't want to spend it all on the car, that's fine, but we'll match whatever you have in savings at that time. And so he was able to take what he had saved and what we matched and able to pay cash for his first car. And obviously we hope that's a principle that he'll realize he'll carry on for a long period of time. The same principles work. God's principles work. When you live within your means, things are going to be better.